Welcome, my name is Michael Ventron. This is the introduction to my documentary website, foxrothschilds.net. Basically where I go through Chester County, Pennsylvania and the scam they got with the trust funds over there, where they're not really trust funds, and if they are, they certainly aren't abiding by the law. A while back when I was still married, I had a friend of mine in Philly. He's down on his smoke break, and this girl comes up to him talking about how she went to one of the finest schools on the main line, Shipley. Her parents passed, left her a trust fund. It's all gone. Doesn't know what happened to it. Living on the streets of Philly. Told this to my ex-wife. Those Shipley girls are stupid. They're not smart like us Agnes Irwin girls. Nothing like that would ever happen to me. Well, it did. That's a documentary on how it all went wrong. Hate of a family, defrauding judges. Truly amazing. So for those unfamiliar, pro se is being your own lawyer, okay? If you go to court and your opponent has a ton of money and you don't, the strategy is to just break you, right? They're going to break you of every dime, make you give up, and then they win. Doesn't matter if they're right or not, they have more money. As pro se, you can be your own lawyer. It's a lot of work, a lot of studying, a lot of effort, a lot of stress. And unlike the lawyers who ask for their legal fees to be awarded, you have to wait till the end. You have to go to a civil suit. Sue them for the money. All the time you invested. Wasted. Trust funds? Well, you've heard of them, right? Bulletproof trust fund. Protect your family. Yeah, well, it's good in theory. But if you're not abiding by the law, and in Chester County they don't, specifically, PA 41 tax forms. They're due every year. That is Commonwealth of Pennsylvania tax law. It's not up to the county. It's not up to the county judges. You must provide PA 41 tax forms. If you don't have them, you don't have a trust fund. It's a bunch of fraud. So throughout Chapter 77, okay, and this is all trust fund law. It's a whole chapter dedicated to nothing but trust funds. Got 7705, which is the instrument. In this case, George and Sheila Hunt, my former in-laws, created a codicil to will. I may or may not be pronouncing that correctly, but basically it's an add-on to your will where my ex-wife is supposed to get a trust fund. With Andrew Doan, Lance Cantor and Macy in Malvern, and my former sister-in-law, Mary Napier Hunt, as co-trustees in charge of the $1.2 million that is being left to my wife. Marital asset. Because if there's no trust fund, it's a marital asset. Big difference. 7736 is trust induced by fraud, duress, or undue influence. And that's not just the codicil to will, that's any addition to that. Any change of co-trustees, anything. If it's done, it's not real. 7737, oral trust, non-enforceable. You can't just say you have one. Okay? There's record keeping, which is the final piece. 7780, record keeping. Usually it's a register of wills at whatever county you're in Pennsylvania or possibly another state. But they're in somewhere other than some lawyer's comic book with a super duper top secret document. Okay? It's public record. And if it's not public record, if you can't prove with record keeping that it's real, you're defrauding everybody. There is no trust fund. Okay? So where have I been pro se? Litigation? Everywhere. Montgomery County Family Court for my divorce. Domestic relations, which this is important. Domestic relations enforces child support and alimony. That's it. Anything else, you got to go to a different court. Child support, alimony. That's it. No lawyer would ever allow their client to reject one of those, let alone suggest it. And you'll see where Billable R. Weemsey did that one. Okay? Montco Civil Court. I'm currently 4 or 5 lawsuits. Because again, I can't ask for my legal fees. I have to sue for all of my financial damages. Very time consuming. Montco Orphans Court. Tried to get them involved. Trust fund wasn't created there. They don't have jurisdiction. They even said so, which is interesting because according to Superior Court of Pennsylvania, jurisdiction was relinquished. That's another story. Chesco Orphans Court. This is where the fraud is because there's no actual trust fund there. Doan registered it. There's a number to it, assigned to it. There's a tax ID, but that's it. Everything else was laundered up through Fox Rothschild and God knows how many other companies. Laundering my stolen marital asset. Pretty sure that's illegal. Okay, Chesco Civil Court. Tried to sue on behalf of my ex-wife. She wouldn't cooperate with the police. So now, well, she's homeless. Chesco Criminal Court. Because once you take them for everything they got, the lawyers want it to go away. There's no more free money for their legal fees. They go to court, their boss is like, what are you doing? Oh, well, you know, I got to deal with this. Well, how much are you getting paid? Well, it's not paid. That's not good for a lawyer. Unless, of course, you own your own firm, trying to help people. Not in this case. Superior Court of Pennsylvania went to twice. You can appeal it. MJ at the shopping mall. Next level is the district court in your county. Next level is the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. Next level is the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. It's all tiered. And then finally, Federal Bankruptcy Court. They defrauded a federal judge into believing that this trust fund was real. Unbelievable. Okay, again, all my references here, they're all in the various Bronthonetaries. This is all public record. I'm not trying to practice law. I'm not trying to teach you how to practice law. I'm not asking for you to pay me, though I am asking for donations, contributions, whatever verbiage you would like to help us. Okay? So again, litigation and all the orders. I have a book of orders. They're not even all printed out yet. Okay? If you've ever gone to court, at the end of it, right, the judge does an order. You know how much that is. How about an entire book of them? And this website's going to go through each and every one of them. Okay? The more I get in donations and contributions, the more I can spend time doing this. Trying to help everyone else out. Okay? So, Montco, we got family court, domestic relations, orphans court, civil court, superior court. That's a lot of court. That's a lot of orders. Fraudulent documentation. Sojourning perjury. If my ex-wife goes on the stand and lies, it's perjury. If the lawyer tells her to lie, sojourning perjury. Rarely prosecuted, but that's what it's called. Okay? Paying each other's legal fees. I sue one of them in court, they take the money that they stole from me and start paying each other's legal fees with it. Because it's trust fund business, right? Well, monkey business, maybe. Okay? And all of it in family court and Montco, it's all rulings based on contempt. I'm in contempt. I'm not paying to the trust fund. I'm not making payments to the trust fund. I'm in contempt. I'm in contempt. I'm in contempt. Remember, domestic relations doesn't enforce this bullshit. Okay? They traded alimony, which I offered, for some bullshit payment plan to a trust fund that doesn't even exist. So it's not enforceable in Montgomery County. They just keep saying I'm in contempt. What a joke. Okay? So Chesco, Orphans Court, that's where it started, right? Civil Court, Superior Court there, and now Criminal Court. Okay? Ashley's not doing anything anymore. My ex-wife isn't doing anything anymore. She's been thrown out of her house and living in the street or a hotel or something. So they need me to stop. Because as pros say, well, if they don't have money to pay their own legal fees, they don't want to play. They don't like the game anymore. And now I have the advantage. Okay? And that's what the criminal court's for. Try to get me to stop. And that's not happening. Okay? So again, fraudulent petitions. I'll show you how they falsified petitions in Orphans Court to sucker Judge Tennell and to sucker Fugosi or whatever her name is that came next. Okay? Representation of a trust fund that was never set up. Again, Doan registered it, but rather than setting it up at like UBS or Charles Schwab, where the check fraud, I'll tell you about that later, happened, he just mailed the cash to Coop, the financial rapist, the ringleader. The one 12 years later has never been in a courtroom. Just like his college buddy Jimmy Q, baby. Never been in a courtroom. With the criminal one in Westchester in June, that's going to change. Okay? Again, paying each other's legal fees with my money, and then the false police report to try to get me to go away. I'm not going away. All right? And then the bankruptcy court. Literally, they defrauded a federal judge into believing this. Okay? And it wasn't just Fox Rothschild and their employees. Chester County defrauded the federal judge. Unbelievable. So again, just a quick summary as far as pro se. It is time consuming. Go to work all day long. Come home. Think about a second job. I'm going to Uber. I'm going to mop floors at the Giant. I'm going to whatever. I'm going to go make some extra money for my family. It's like that. You're constantly working, but you're not getting paid. Not until you sue at the end, which I think is wrong. Okay? If you got employee assistance, anything like that, you can call them. You usually get 30 minutes, maybe an hour for free. Just like Elon says. You can look anything up on the internet. You don't need to go to school. Okay? And if you don't find the answers, write them down. Get a list. Bullet point. Call the free lawyer. Get the answers you need. They're going to want a retainer. They're going to want your money to, represent you. Just ask your questions. And if you really need the lawyer, then you hire him. You have to. Okay? The site, again, my experiences. I'm not trying to get paid to teach you law or show you how to practice law, but I would happily accept any donations, contributions you could give us. Told me I need $120,000 to get my children a real lawyer. Try to get the family money back. I'm trying, but obviously a real lawyer would be able to do it a lot faster. Okay? And again, throughout here, I'll show you multiple judges' careers have ended. You got judges involved in check fraud. You got judges doing rulings upon stuff she previously ruled didn't have jurisdiction over. It's truly unbelievable, the amount of judges that these Fox Rothschild lawyers have suckered. Okay? And again, please contribute. When you go to the site, there's a files page. That's all the bread and butter. It's all the exhibits, emails, orders, documents, everything. Scattered throughout all the pathonetaries, I've made it nice and easy in one site to find them. I hope it helps. And again, for the real lawyers out there, the best litigators, and I mean Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's best, consider this a request for proposal. You got Fox Rothschild, a $500 million a year law firm. $500 million, $500 million in revenue, more than that last year. They've got a crooked-ass Chester County with their little trust fund scam. Defrauding Montgomery County. Defrauding the Ventrum family. Defrauding federal judges. $500 million as well. That's a total of $1 billion in revenue for these two. Punitive damages, 10%? That's $100 million. Am I crazy? Or am I not thinking big enough? Where's my expert? Where's my SME? My subject matter expert. I'm an IT guy. I need a SME. So consider this a formal request for proposal. Send an email, whatever you like. Give me a call. Let me know. But help us. Okay? Again, thank you for your time. I hope the site helps. Hope it educates. Hope it entertains. I hope it prevents this from happening to other families. Because it was horrible. And still is. Okay? There's the email. You're on the website. And by now the Facebook page should be out there. Thank you for your time.